This is Andi Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and I'm delighted to be joined by trainer Don Charles here at the Boxer Bubble in London. Don, first and foremost, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, and thank you for... This is actually my first appearance on Boxing Social, and I watch you guys very, very frequently, very regularly, and I was going to ask you, take this opportunity to ask you, why have you never had me on?
Don, your guess is no, your guess
No
is
pressure.
your guess is as good as mine. Don, that's the first I'm hearing of it. I can only imagine. Obviously, this is the first time we've spoken, so I actually haven't crossed paths with you, and I imagine it being the same with my colleagues over at Boxing Social. But Don, I'm sure we'll have you on plenty of times moving forwards, and we'll see plenty of your face on Boxing Social moving forwards.
Well, I'm here now. All is forgiven.
Thank you for that. Let's obviously get into kind of the reason we're here. Florian Marku, a man that you're training. Talk to me about Florian, and we always see Sam Jones bigging him up as to how much of a talent he's over social media, and for whatever reason he hasn't had the right opportunities as of yet. When you're watching Florian in the gym, what makes you think that kind of you can see why people aren't kind of taking him up and giving him those opportunities?
Well, like a second or echo what Sam Jones has told you guys, he's an exceptional talent, and obviously he has a background from his origins, Albanian. He's an established MMA fighter, kickboxer, who made a conversion to going into the professional boxing. So this is a seasoned, conditioned fighter. First and foremost, he's a fighter, and who's how can I explain it? I've seen a lot since I've been a coach. I've observed a lot. I've seen all types of fighters in every weight category, and you watch all the champions, and being a seasoned, experienced coach like myself, you get to pick notice or when you know a guy has the ingredients to do well in boxing, and he's got the material, the makeup of... I've seen a few champions in my time, and he certainly has all the attributes to become a world champion, and given the opportunity, the promotion and the training and the guidance, his team, he's got a very good team. Jam Boxing, Adam Morley and Sam Jones. These guys are vicious, hungry, ambitious, and they're able to see these talents, such as Florian Marku, and like I said, everyone working together in the promotional capacity, managerial capacity, training capacity. If we have all these areas, and we've got the fighter, I don't see us going wrong. I think it has what it takes to go all the way.
One of the biggest things that Florian has, and again it's been well publicised, is a strong following, a strong support, whether it be back in Albania, in Greece, or certainly over here in the UK. Why do you think it is that he's just so followed? Is it just support from his obviously where he's from his background, or is there more to it when you've spoken to Florian?
Yeah, they're quite patriotic, his countrymen, and he's very patriotic, Florian. He's representing Albania in a positive way, and he genuinely wants to succeed for his family first and foremost, and for the Albanians worldwide. He wants to represent. He wants to be an ambassador. He's very ambitious. He has his own plans for life after boxing, and his total approach to the sport is remarkable. Yeah, a very disciplined athlete. It's very easy to train this guy because it's almost I have to ask him to slow down in some cases because he lives, breathes, and eats boxing.
Tomorrow night, what should we expect to see from Florian? What have you guys been working on? And as we've mentioned, he hasn't had those opportunities that Sam would have loved him to have had. I'm sure you'd have loved to seen him have as well as of yet. But is this kind of on the back on what will be a big couple of months for the welterweight division, a chance for him to make his own statement and trying to get his name even further out there?
Yeah, basically, let's not get carried away. I'm quite old-fashioned in the way I do things and the way I approach things. Florian, let's not forget, he's only had 6 professional fights. Okay, tomorrow will be his 7th professional fight. He's a mere novice in terms of if you looking at somebody who's just turned professional, for instance. Yeah, he hasn't. He's had a background, like I said, he's had over 100 kickboxing fights and I believe 6 or 7 MMA fights. So he's a seasoned, conditioned fighter. But as a boxer, he's only had, like I said, tomorrow will be his 7th outing. He's a mere novice, but he doesn't fight like a novice, you know what I mean? He can fight. So, but he's the type of athlete you can afford to fast track him. He's mixing with really good company in terms of in the sparring personnels. He's been sharing the ring people like O'Hara Davis, whom I rate highly, and he's of recent times. Geale Brooks is about to fight Terence Crawford, and he's done some good rounds with Geale Brooks, whom again I rate really highly. So, and when you're watching this, he's competing with guys who have been world champions or people who are aspiring to fight for world titles. And sometimes you look in there, you think to yourself, who is, if you was to walk into one of the sessions, you'd be asking yourself, who is the former world champion? Or, you know, he doesn't look out of place. He holds his own, and it gives us confidence, myself and, like I said, the management team, that he will. We're right in terms, if this guy gets the right promotion outfit, gets behind him, he will go all the way and do great things. You know, he's very, very exciting. Yeah, he's a very exciting character, quite explosive as a personality, and that it replicates that in a boxing ring.
One thing I want to ask you about is obviously the kind of the Conor Benn stories and how Florian's been keen to try to get that fight in the past. You said that he's like a male novice, even though he doesn't box like one. Let's say if a Conor Benn fight was on offer, would you be happy to see Florian face somebody like Conor Benn, or do you feel that maybe 1 or 2 more fights is needed for Florian in terms of just experience? Yeah,
in terms of experience, a couple more fights, and also a fight of that magnitude should be built up. You know. So for Conor and Florian to get it on is something that should be built up. For instance. I don't think something should be rushed into. A couple more fights, 2, 3, maybe 4 fights from now. He's ready, technically, ability. He's ready to fight now. But from a business perspective, it's better to build such things, you know. And they both keep winning, of course. And no, inevitably they should meet and will meet. You know, it'll make a good fight, both styles. And yeah, exciting times ahead.
Talk to me about his opponent tomorrow night. What are you expecting from him? We know that he hasn't fought for 2 years now. There'll be a lot of expectation again on Florian to impress. Is that going to play on his mind at all? And obviously boxing without a crowd there, how do you feel he'll adapt to that atmosphere?
Right, first things first, the opponent who's, I have to acknowledge and commend him, because he's, in the last few months, Sam and Adam have tried to get opponents, and they'll take the fight, and then literally within 24 hours, suddenly they're not fighting him. So this chap who we're fighting, Florian's fighting tomorrow, I have to give him the thumbs up, because he's a man enough to take up the challenge. He's a very good fighter. I've studied him, and you know, we're expecting a very tough fight. The guy's very technically very, very good. And we have to be on our best game to bring our A game to overcome such opponents.
Don, moving away from Florian, just want to get your thoughts on a few other things. You mentioned you mentioned Geale Brooks earlier on, and he's obviously getting ready to face Terence Crawford this coming weekend. Is it a little too late for Geale, or can he overcome Terence Crawford on Saturday night?
Well, I'm always known in the industry as a guy who was back the underdog. Yeah, I believe Geale's the underdog. I assume he's the underdog for this fight. Terence Crawford is obviously exceptional talent. But you know, the Geale Brooks I was looking at, who sparred with Florian 10 days ago, I'm giving him a very, very good chance. He looks hungry. He looks in good condition mentally. No, it's not all about physical. He looks in incredible shape. And he's happy where he is now. You know, people don't. If a fighter is not happy, that place goes along with. He's in a happy place in his life presently. That's what I could read into. And I was speaking to him. I had quite a good chat with him. He seems to be in a good place. And, when there's no pressure on you as such, people are not expecting him to go and do anything in this fight. They're expecting him to get beat. But I'm giving him a chance, a good chance.
Geale wins that fight, Don. Where do you actually think that leaves him? People put Terence Crawford in the pound-for-pound rankings list. Would you put Geale up there then?
And why not? Why not indeed? There's a guy who used to do film reviews. His name's Barry Norman, the late Barry Norman. And one of his catchphrases is, and why not? Why not indeed? Yes, if he does that, pull it off, then yeah, why not? Why not?
Moving forward once again, just want to touch on the heavyweight division. Don, obviously I have to ask about one fight which happened a couple of weeks ago. We saw Alexander Usyk defeat your former trainee, Derek Chisora. What was your thoughts on Derek's performance first and foremost?
Well, he brought the heat. He took the heat to Usyk, and Usyk was like, it's a baptism of fire in the first 3 rounds. He is now with a seasoned, experienced heavyweight. So the first 3 rounds was horrendous for Usyk. He's like, what the hell's going on? Derek was just manhandling him, and he was not used to that. You could see that. But credit to Usyk, he weathered the storm, and he demonstrated after that why he's an Olympic gold medalist and campaigned at a very high level. So he was able to adjust and come back and get the points win. It was a comfortable win in the end. But, I mean, Derek, like I said, there was only one way Derek was going to win that fight, and that's to stop Usyk, in my opinion. Like I said, I won't go into details. I've already done numerous interviews and long interviews. And in a nutshell, no, you had to come with a better game plan to beat someone like Usyk. So I didn't see that. And there's lots of other fights for Derek to have in the division. People are writing him up saying he should. No. The Derek that I know is still hungry, he's still fresh, but he's got to regroup and stop the becoming a guy. I hate hearing it. He's just a gatekeeper. No, once you get that embedded into your head, then that's not really what you should be in it for. You be in it to win. There's lots of fights for him to have still in the heavyweight division to play a part.
With Alexander, was you impressed by kind of the adjustments he's made, and where do you think it kind of leaves him now in the heavyweight division? Do you think he's ready for one of the top guys, or do you feel he still needs a bit more time to kind of really get a feel for the weight?
He needs to grow into the division. He's big enough. He just needs to get used to. I mean, look, it's almost like in football terminologies. If I give you got 4 teams that, like in the Champions League, like let's say in England, for instance, you've got your Man City's, your Tottenham's. I'm a Tottenham supporter, so I have to slip that in there.
I'm a West Brom supporter, Don, so let's not talk about football.
Sorry, I have to apologise to you because that was like...
That was robbery.
Well, that's typical Kane. Obviously, I was delighted. It was a very, very difficult game. We nicked it at last minute. So basically, you got the campaigners who it's always between those 4. So in this current heavyweight division, I think Usyk is probably after the first top 6. I don't think he could compete with them right this minute. Give him about 12 to 18 months, then see where he's at. But right now, no, I think he should be campaigning in the level of just his next tier down. After Fury, AJ, Dillian White, Wilder, Dillian White, then you're looking at your Joseph Parkers, your Takam, Andi Ruiz. That's the heavyweights he should be now campaigning to fight against. But in the top 5/6, no, I can't see him being successful against the top 6.
But on that note, then I take it you'd advise him against making good of his WBO mandatory position to Anthony Joshua.
Sorry, can you repeat?
Would you advise against him making good of his WBO mandatory position to face Anthony Joshua?
Yeah, strongly advise him. Unless Anthony, I don't see why, relinquishes that belt for whatever obligations. I'm not a promoter, so unless Anthony releases that, then perhaps if like one of the people below the 6th mark, like I just read out to you, then yes. Other than that, keep growing into division. Keep growing into division.
You mentioned obviously the six that you'd avoid there. You mentioned if AJ was to relinquish his title, Frank Warren's come out and said he'd be happy to make Dubois Usyk for a vacant title. Daniel's big of a way, a very heavy-handed fighter as well. Would that be a fight you'd be interested in? And how do you think that one would play out if we was to see after Dubois Joyce?
Right. I'm gonna, you know me, I shoot from the hip. I'm gonna go as far as saying I don't see Dubois beating Joyce first and foremost. And should he be successful, it's not impossible. He's a puncher. Should he be successful, and I wouldn't recommend that he went and face Usyk. Usyk would make easy work of it.
Moving forward as well, just to stick with Dubois, he has got a fight with Joyce just around the corner now. Don, what are your thoughts on it?
I just said to you that I don't believe he will be. He's a young man, you know. He's been trained well, developed well, but he's not ready for Joyce's experience. People underestimate. He's been in the room with everybody. Daniel has the puncher's chance, yes, he has. But Joe is more savvy. Joe is more, how can I put it, to the eye. You know, there's more to Joe than even me. I underestimated Joe. Joe made his debut against a guy that I trained, and I thought David Hay at the time. I thought he must have been drinking some strong liquor. I got it wrong. He made easy work of us, and I rate my guy Ian Lewison. I thought to myself, going into that fight, they've made a mistake. This is a debutant against a renowned puncher, and I thought at some point over the 10. Remember, his debut was a 10-round fight, and I thought at some point during 10 rounds we're going to make connection. He never presented that opportunity. Yeah, there's more to Joe than meets the eye. He's been in with every style there is to go in with. He's very experienced. But this is boxing, heavyweight boxing. Anything can happen.
Just get your thoughts on a couple of other fights in that division, because I don't know when the next one will be when we catch you. AJ versus Pulev. Is it just too much for Kubrat Pulev at this stage, or can he cause what would be a shock?
Listen, this is heavyweight boxing, like I said, but really and truly, he's been very inactive. Pulev, good fighter, strong fighter. But again, I think our boy AJ, I think he gets the victory, quite a comfortable victory.
Then on to Tyson Fury. Don, I don't know if anybody else has asked you about it recently. Obviously, we've seen Deontay Wilder come out with a video accusing Tyson of cheating in their rematch, and then said Mark Breland was a disloyal trainer and accused him of spiking his water and what have you. Just what was your thoughts on Deontay's comments, and obviously from a trainer's perspective, obviously what he said about Mark Breland?
Yeah, there's a few pointers there. I mean, number one, I'm a lover of boxing, you know. I was a Deontay Wilder fan in the sense that what he achieved and the way he achieved it in boxing. But what he's doing now, I did an interview with a different network the other day, and I'm going to reiterate what I said, is that if he's got anyone that loves him around him, they should advise him to, in his help, in the sense that, you know, obviously the guy is depressed, he's in a bad place. It's not time for kicking a man when he's down. But really and truly, some of the comments he's made are outrageous comments. I.e. with Mark Breland, who's highly respected human being, to the degree that he spiked his water, that's outrageous. And so he should not make comments like that. He should just take the loss. Everybody loses. It's not right. Nobody goes in wanting to lose. Just the better man beats you on the night. You know, take it. And the only way you're gonna repair is by accepting in life. When you're in denial, you will never repair. So he needs to. Don't take it on the chin. They say take it on the chin. Don't take it on the chin in boxing. Just acknowledge and accept that the better man beat you. Stop pulling excuses out of the thin air. The man beat you. If that was me, if I was advising him, it hurts. Trust me. I've been where my fighters have been beaten. It bloody hurts. Take it, regroup. Let that drive you. Repair, regroup. Take time out. It probably needs time out. You know. It needs time out. Take 18 months off. Be active, but don't compete. And look at demographically in 18 months' time where you are, where the division is. And people, you know how the public are, they'll be calling for him back. Because he's very exciting, a guy that knocks people out. Yeah? So my advice to Deontay Wilder, if this reaches you, brother, go and regroup, lick your wounds, repair, and come back. Stop. You're ridiculing yourself. You're tarnishing everything you've already achieved, and making a mockery of yourself. You're self-harming. Don't do it. Go away, repair, lick your wounds. If should you want to continue boxing, come back. You're an exciting fighter. You achieved a lot. Yeah, and all these things I'm reading and seeing you, please, brother, do not do it. Do not carry on doing that. And if anyone around you that loves you, they should take the microphone away, take the cameras away, go recluse, regroup and come again, okay? No, I don't agree with any of this excuse making. It's, like I said, it's tarnishing what he's achieved.
I just want to move away from kind of a boxing talk, just get your thoughts on a couple of other things. We had a little chat off camera, and I'm sure that this is kind of a very different kind of world to what we've all been used to over these past 8 or 9 months. How have you found kind of dealing with the COVID pandemic and how it's influenced your life, and being in a bubble now where you're not allowed to go outside for a walk, and the world and the way that it lies?
Well, I never thought I'd sound like that. I'm sounding like my parents every day, Like I said, it's a different world right now to the world I came into because of my age. It's changed so much. I mean, I'm not alone in this world. Anyone who lives on this planet, it's impacted your life in some capacity, to some capacity. We feel very privileged, you and I. We're still doing what we love doing. Yeah, okay, it's been sort of modified in the way we do it, but we're still doing it. Whereas most people are not in a situation where they can do what they love doing. I feel privileged, and I just pray for the world that we've seen the worst of it, in the sense that something will come up where to get back to some kind of normality as life as we knew. The things that we used to take for granted, it's almost like going for a walk in the park now. It's like, wow, I'm allowed freedom. Do you know what I mean? So with me personally, I've started to appreciate things that we normally take for granted. I start to appreciate little things, in a way, of course, it's negative in the sense people who have lost their lives, people have lost their loved ones. Yes, that has happened. But, the world, the way it was accelerating, the world kind of needed a reboot if this was a computer. In some cases, it's done the world a lot of good. Yeah, it's done me. I've done a lot of thinking, I've had time to think. Because at this pace we were all moving, the world we live in, the pace was quite a very, very fast pace. And the COVID thing was good. Obviously, it's a bad thing. But out of every bad thing in life, I like to think that even if it's a tiny ounce of goodness will come out of it. Yeah, for me personally, it's helped me to reset, rethink, reevaluate, and appreciate more of talking instead of getting on the phone to people. Actually make a point of physically talking to people. So there's a lot of good that's also come out of it. Again, my heart goes out to people. I've lost friends during this COVID period, and my heart goes out to every family who's lost loved ones. Like I said, that's on the negative. On the downside, on the positive side, there will be a lot of good that will come out on the other end of it. I pray and hope. We pray and hope.
We certainly do, Don. We'll leave that there now because no time's getting on. I appreciate you speaking to us for the first time, and I promise you it won't be the last.
Well, like I said, don't keep me waiting.
I won't do, Don. Obviously, I'll keep in touch with you now that we've met for the first time. It's been a pleasure to speak to you, and I look forward to doing it the next time. Thank you for speaking to Boxing Social.
Thank you for having me.